Ready, go!
Maybe on deck.
What shoulder? Shoulder in just a bit. Ready, go! Stop! One out foul. Right up the back too.
Quickly, I wanted to mention to everybody
That's
that
not on
we have
camera,
two
Alex.
superstars here.
Watch that shoulder.
Ready, go!
How could I forget the crazy George?
Contact. You're in there, Alex.
Go! No! Fuck yeah! Woo! Starting it over. Go! All the way down! Ready, go! Ready, go!
Plus,
Come on, Paul.
Michael, Nathaniel, Dalen,
Load, Paul, load.
Keary, Nathan, Joe. If you think you should be in the open category, if you hear your name, let me know. Otherwise, can I have Michael and...
Come on, Ty, stay tight.
Go, Tyler! Go, Alex!
Coming hard.
Go, Alex.
Go! Go, Alex. Get your grip. Ready, go.
There you go, Alex. That's your game, buddy. This is where you want to be. Yeah, buddy. Stay in there. Stay in there. Stay in it.
You got it,
Stay in
Alex.
it.
That's yours, buddy.
Hold it.
Be patient. Be
Elbow
patient.
forward, Alex.
Be patient.
Elbow forward, Alex.
Come on, let's go. Thanks.
Don't the gas, Alex. Patient.
Go, Tyler, go, go, go!
Let's go, Corey. Okay, buddy.
Go! Let's go! Woo! Ready, go!
Let's go.
Straighten that out. Ready, go.
Watch him. Stop. Behind
Go,
it.
Corey. Close your hands. Ready, go! Go, go! Let's go, Cole!
Emilio and Cole to table 2.
Go.
Ready, go! Stop!
Win. Alex. Yeah.
What's up, guys? Alex here from Table Monkeys, and today in this video I'm going to recap my matches from the PAL this past Saturday. It was a great event for the Table Monkeys crew. We came away with a lot of hardware, trophies, medals. I myself came home with a medal, first place in the 230 right hand open class, and also I managed to get third in the left hand class. Small classes for both, only 3 people in the left hand class, so that's why I got the win, because I did actually end up injuring my left elbow after my second match, so I had to pull out, but still third place. But in the right hand class, that's what we're going to focus on mainly for this video. Came back from the B side to win the event, super excited about that. Got 2 victories on Dave Hall. So going into that event, I would never have thought that I would be able to beat Dave Hall. But I used all the tricks in the book, my speed, my explosiveness, my table savviness to get the win. So I just want to go over all my matches, explain my feelings and thoughts in this while I was on the table, and kind of give you some insight into how I approach the fight on my wrestling table. So like I said before, it was a pretty small class. It was just me, Paul, Umesh, 2 of my teammates, then Zane Butt, who I didn't get to pull, but I pulled him in practice before. He's really not a 230-pound guy, so I'm not sure why he was in that class, but you won't see him in this video. Anyway, and then Dave Hall, who definitely the favorite going into this event. I pulled him a couple times before, and he's always just felt like a rock. Like he embodies old man strength to a T. He's just rock solid and a pretty intimidating guy to pull. Anyway, so my first match was with Paul Babbitz, my teammate, and so he outmatches me in height. He's 6'5", he's got a bigger hand, longer fingers. I think our elbow to fingertip is about the same, just because my forearm is longer, but his hand is longer. So we're pretty even there, but he's just stronger than me in almost every way. So I knew that I wanted to get to the strap because his main weapon is his hand. So I set up for a posting top roll. He does the same, and it goes well for me. I actually was able to get control of the top of his hand and then clamp down and try to exploding hand technique him, bring my shoulder up for a press. And he's able to slip out pretty quickly. He knows what's up. He's not dumb. And we go to the strap. So I know I'm not going to be able to top roll him in the strap. It's just not there for me. I haven't been able to do it in practice. I don't really feel good top rolling in the strap just yet. My main weapon, if you've been watching me for a long time, is my press. My press is pretty good. It's very hard to counter. It can be scary to counter. And you just have to be really quick off the go, because I'm coming in hot with everything I've got with my shoulder. And you've got to know how to counter it. So my press is definitely by far my strongest lane, and it's very hard to counter. So Paul knows this. He can probably feel that I'm going for a press. He can see that shoulder is creeping forward. You probably feel all the pressures. You know, I try to set it up like I'm going for a top roll where I'm applying a ton of back pressure, but I still have that shoulder like all the way to the side. I have my hand as far inside my body as possible, and I'm creeping forward with my shoulder, trying to get away with anything I can. So Paul probably notices this, and he sets up well. He's so off that first go, he cups really hard, drags, gets to the back of the pad, and he's able to stop the match. Now I come off the pad as I'm driving forward, and he comes off the back. I get called for it, and he doesn't, which is okay. I mean, Dave Knox said that I pushed him off the pad, so that's why. Apparently it's easier to push someone off the pad than it is to pull someone off the pad. I don't know, it seems like the same kind of deal. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. I knew in that moment that he had the strength to stop me in that position. And if I get stopped in my press, it's not like it's over, because I'm still in a decent position, but it's not the same. And you know, when you put everything into an explosive hit, coming back from that and transitioning into a slow, grindy, intricate match can be hard, just to maintain the endurance after that. So I had to adapt. I didn't want to do the same thing, only harder, because I didn't think that would work. I needed to neutralize his hand, and to do that, I thought, hey, let's just flop. If I supinate, that gives him so much more time to cup and drag, and I actually enter into his hook. But if I flop, he doesn't get into a hook. He gets into this top roll where he's controlling with his pronation and his brack. He's not in a hook anymore. And if I am able to get my shoulder over my hand and beat him to the punch into this position, there's no way he's stopping me. So in that split second, after that first initial go, I knew that I had to go for a flop press to get the win. And that's what I did here. Committed completely to that press, gave up the hand, and was able to get the victory within a couple of seconds. So that was awesome. I was super happy I was able to adapt on the fly just in that split second. And one thing to note here, against all three of these guys that I pull, is that I'm by far the weakest in almost every single lane apart from my press. But if we were able to do any sort of arm wrestling strength testing exercise, anything that's specific to arm wrestling, I would most likely lose. So really, I'm winning here with table savviness, explosiveness, and just my willingness to fight for everything in the setup. And I do that really well against Dave Knox. I mean, not against Dave Knox, against Dave Hall, who's my next opponent right here. So in the setup, I know I'm doing all the Devin Larratt shit where I'm just grabbing him high, cupping him down, pushing him to the pad, just trying to like anger him, piss him off a little bit, get him to squeeze, get him to load, get him to burn some energy off. Just trying to assert my dominance in any way I can. And this first go is kind of weird. So I'm complaining as much as I can to get everything that I want. And in this moment, it felt like his side pressure threat was so strong that he was pushing me off center. Now, whether or not he was actually pushing me off center, he might not have been. I could just feel that load. I told Dave Knox, hey man, he's pushing me off center. And in that moment, that does two things. It tells Dave Knox, hey, I gotta look and check if he's actually off center, if he's actually being pushed off center, because that's not cool. You know, I want a fair match. And then Dave Hall, to him, it's like, okay, now Dave Knox is gonna check that. I should relax a little bit. He's gonna move our hands around. I want a fair match, so I'm gonna relax my hand a little bit. Regardless of whatever happened, in that moment, I took control of that match. Where Dave Hall didn't know what was going on, Dave Knox was also unsure, because he still called the ready go right away, even after I was complaining. And in that moment, I don't care where my hand position is if I don't have the best setup, if I don't have all the advantages I want. He says go, I go. And I hit for my press, and I walk right through Dave Hall like he's not even there. Now, I don't think he was ready for that at all. I think he got taken out of the moment by me, and I was able to capitalize. Now, Dave Knox realized that. He realized what happened. He thinks, you know, Dave Hall got cheated because I was complaining before the go, which I let Dave Knox know is ridiculous and it's not a rule. But it didn't matter because, you know, Dave Knox the ref, and what he says goes. So we go into the restart, and I'm feeling a little cocky here. I let Dave Hall load way too much in the setup. I still have a decent hand position in like before the go, but not nearly enough. And I'm just not able to get any purchase on his hand. And he's able to pronate through my hand. I have to commit to a flop. I don't have the arm strength to push him down from that position. So I slip and get to the strap. And in the strap, the first thing he does is grab my hand really tight and not let me get a grip. It's like he's right on the top of my thumb. Like if I close my thumb on my hand, everything would be showing, but I would have such a shit position just because he would be much higher than me. He got that first initial squeeze, so the blood is rushing into my fingertips, so I'm not able to really feel a good connection. And so I don't close my hand. If I can feel that in the setup, I'm not gonna settle. I'm not gonna take a shitty grip. So I just won't close my hand. If it goes to ref grip, I'm completely cool with that. And Dave Hall is just squeezing. He's squeezing and he's burning his hand juice out. Every second this continues. So, and that lasts for about, 20 seconds, 25 seconds before Dave Hall gets frustrated and he's like, all right, man, here it is. He relaxes his hand, relaxes his arm, and he's like, take whatever grip you want. What do you want? Take whatever. So I don't show anything on my face, but in my head, I'm like, yeah, this is going exactly to plan. Getting Dave Hall pissed off. It's exactly what I wanted, just to burn him out a little bit, burn his mental energy, his physical energy, just to tire him out as much as I can. So I was able to get a decent position with my hand, but still feeling a little cocky after that first pin. And I let Dave Hall load way too much in the setup. And the same thing happened as outside the strap. I commit for the press, but I'm not able to get any bite on his hand, and I have to flop. And that just doesn't work against Dave because his arm is just so strong. So he's able to, posting top roll, pull right through my shoulder. As soon as he gets outside my shoulder, I let it go and live to fight another day. So I congratulated him on the win. He did well there. But I knew what I had to do going into if I had to pull him again. So that was all the preliminaries for right hand. Up next is my left-handed matches, and then we'll go back into the final four for right hand. So I only had 2 matches on my left hand because in my second match I actually injured myself. So my first match was again against Paul Babbitz. I don't have the out of the strap pull, but it was a quick slip. We both posting top rolled strap. In the strap, so I pulled Paul hundreds of times probably now. On left recently, I've had the greatest success when I hook him, and my arm strength is just significantly better than his, to the point where I know it's an easy win if I get into the hook. I could top roll him, but in the strap setup, I can feel like my top roll strength versus his is very even. If not, he's got me beat. And I can feel that everything in the setup just by applying a few little pressures in certain directions. So I made the decision, okay, I'm gonna commit to the press. And off the go, I get my shoulder forward, I get my hook set, and I go for a drive, and he stops me. And that was a surprise. So then I reset, get my shoulder even closer, get into a press position where I'm really contorted inside, elbow inside my body, and I kind of go for this kind of ugly, more of a side pressure kind of press where I'm just driving to the side. I'm not driving down like I'm in a press. It's more to the side. And that works. I was able to get the pin on Paul there on that second drive, but he felt really strong, and it didn't leave me with a lot of confidence, to be honest. But that was the first and only match of the preliminaries because there was only 3 people in our left-handed class, and I was pretty upset with that. I wanted to pull new people, so I decided to enter the super heavyweight left-handed class because my left it has been feeling good lately, and I want to test myself against some bigger opponents. And my first match was against Tyler Robinson, which is a match I've wanted for a long time on left hand because he had been ranked number 9 or number 10, I forget, on the interior left arm 242 rankings. But because of his inactivity, I took that spot when I had some good wins over the last year on my left arm. But I wanted to prove myself against him. I wanted to know that I could actually beat him and I deserved that spot over him. So this match, it wasn't for rankings. This was in the super heavyweight class. I believe he was like 260 pounds right here, but I still wanted the win. I wanted to prove myself. So this match meant a lot to me. Out of the strap, my hand felt really good, very dominant. He grabbed me low, like kind of in a low hand position, which I knew was not going to work against me because I was posting at the longer hand. My riser felt rock solid. And when the go happened, I completely destroyed his hand. I have everything. and he has to run for the hills, dump his wrist completely, ball it up. But his arm is really strong, and you'll see that his arm doesn't really move. I just take his hand, and he's able to just pull over to the side, and I have to let go of his hand, otherwise I would get taken. So in that moment, I walk away from the table. I'm not too confident. I didn't get any purchase on his arm. I was able to take his hand, but I knew that in the strap it's completely different. His arm strength is going to come into play a lot more. And I also know that my pronation is more susceptible to being taken in the strap. And if he has a strong wrist, strong cut, which he does, he's going to take advantage of that. So off the go, I commit to my post, but immediately bring my shoulder forward and get into a hook, kind of defensive, because I start losing my pronation. This is a long battle. He is driving to the side really hard. I'm trying to get my shoulder in there to protect my elbow, and I'm able to keep doing that. I try to bring my shoulder forward to get some kind of press going, but it's not there. My elbow does not feel strong, and I'm stuck kind of holding. What I really should have done here is completely commit from the beginning, completely commit to going outside. And instead of retreating into a defensive hook, I should have retreated into a more open style top roll, and used my drag against his arm instead of trying to use my shoulder, because he just had way more arm strength than me, and it was a losing battle. So I lose more and more position as the match goes on. I decide, hey, I'm about to lose everything. I've got a good hand position, but I'm losing my shoulder, I'm losing my arm. Let's give it all up. And for a split second, I'm like, all right, I'll flop. And I go for a flop, like in the worst position possible, and pop in my elbow, right as he pins me. And Dave Knox notices right away. He gives me a little look, a little smile, and yeah, I could feel it. Feel a couple pops in my like right here in my like elbow, wrist flexor area. Didn't hurt at all, but immediately started swelling up a little bit. So I put some ice on it, and I decided to just call it, and I stopped pulling left arm. So that was a little unfortunate, but it's like, what is it today? It's Wednesday. It's 5 days later. It feels pretty good now. I can use it pretty normally for like everyday tasks. I'm not working out with it yet, but I should be able to start doing some rehab exercises in a day or two. I'm just taking it slow. I'm in no rush. But yeah, it's not a serious injury, so I'm not too worried. Unfortunately, my boy Umesh, he got a serious injury, tore his bicep against Dave Hall. So yeah, prayers out to that guy, because he's going to be out probably for the year in terms of competing right hand. Maybe he'll be able to compete at the end of the year, but it's a long road to recovery for a bicep tear. Obviously, we know, since Jason suffered a bicep tear himself. So we're familiar with bicep tears around here. Anyway, Tyler got the win there. It was a great fight. And I'd love to pull him again once my elbow is healed. So on to right hand finals. I was a little upset that I had to pull Paul again before I even pulled Umesh. But regardless, that's the way the bracket worked, I guess. So he came in a lot more fired up this time. And he was controlling center really hard outside the strap, committing more to going inside and bringing his shoulder forward instead of posting like he did in the first go. And I wanted to post and get to the strap. His hand felt like a rock, and I knew that I wasn't going to be able to have any control over center unless I was in the strap. So I commit to my post, and he completely fucking dominates my hand, and I have to buckle underneath and just run for the hills and end up kind of like falling away from the table. He screams, "Let's fucking go," smashes the table, and I laugh it off because I don't know, I just think it's funny. Yeah. I love when he gets fired up. Anyway, we go to the strap, and I have to press again. There's no other option. It feels like to me like he's coming forward, trying to meet me inside with his shoulder. He's got his shoulder forward. It's not like the first time we met where he cupped and dragged and pulled me back. It feels like he's coming in. So in that moment, I'm okay. I'm thinking, okay, I can go for my traditional supinating press, and I think that's gonna work. I don't have to flop. And that's exactly what happens. We get the go, and I just beat him inside, knock him completely out of his shoulder, and I'm able to just drive straight down to the pad, like straight center. I wasn't able to bring him close to me, but straight to the pad with my shoulder on top of it. And it looks like he kind of does drag back, but I think that's more of a reaction. He just got completely beaten to the punch there, and I laughed because it just felt like I was going to get completely dominated in that setup. So yeah, very happy with that win. And then finally I get to pull Umesh, who actually at this point had already torn his bicep against Dave Hall, and he just didn't realize it. So in hindsight, this probably wasn't a great idea for him, and maybe I unfortunately damaged him even further, which I did. I'm sorry, Umesh. But I didn't know that, he didn't know that, and I need to get the win. So he's been hooking and pressing mostly on his right arm, so I know he's going to come inside, but I'm pretty confident I can beat him there with my longer lever and just get my shoulder behind my arm. And if I get my shoulder in there quicker than he does, it's over for him. And that's what happens. I beat him to the punch, get my press in, and it's straight to the pad. Not too much of an issue. But I'm very happy with that win because, like I said, all these guys are stronger than me. If they stop the match, it's over. So yeah, great win. On to Dave Hall. So this is for the finals. This is for numero uno, but he's undefeated, so I have to beat him twice. And so I have to pull out all the tricks in the book this time. I'm fighting for everything. I'm stalling in the setup. I'm regripping. I'm getting deeper. I just want to burn him out, burn out all his energy. Like I said before, I'm going to win the endurance game against him in that setup. In the match, no, because he's stronger than me. But in the setup, I can fight for days. I do that that shit all the time. And I know exactly what I want and how much a millimeter of difference makes. So I'm climbing higher on his hand because my goal here is to get to a ref script. I know that I need to get to a ref script now if I want to neutralize his load completely. So I'm just trying to stall. I'm trying to, regrip. So Dave has to pull me down. I'm trying to cup deeper, so he has to turn us out. I'm letting Dave load back pressure and then just letting him take my arm, so Dave knows that Dave Knox knows that Dave Hall is loading, and he'll have to stop the match or stop the setup again and reset us. I'm trying everything in the books just to stall this match so that we can get to a rest grip, and it takes a while. It takes like a minute of fucking around in the setup before Dave finally gives us a ref script. So great, we got a ref script, and I'm getting ready to fire into my press. And in this first setup, he closes my hand first, then Dave, and I can feel myself being pushed off center. So I complain, I'm like, no, we're off center, we need to go this way, And And Knox is like, yeah, okay, that was my fault. Yeah, that's true. So I complain to the ref, and all right, he understands. He stops the match, or stops the setup, resets our hands. And yeah, he closes my hand first to get a nice good connection on his hand. And I know exactly when that goal is going to happen, so I get ready to fire everything I've got and press for the victory, just like that. Quick, done and dusted. And I'm super happy with the way I was pressing today. I was able to like kind of high hook press, where I was able to keep my pronation. I didn't have to supinate to get my shoulder connected, which is just much more of a dominant position. You know, I'm keeping all my hand fundamentals as I press. You know, if you look back, you slow it down, you can see my elbow does come off the pad an inch or two after the go. So yeah, it should have been called for a foul, but you know, if you're fast enough, people don't catch that shit. It's just the way it works, and I wasn't trying to foul, it just happened. I didn't know until I rewatched the footage. Anyway, so that was the first win. I gotta come back, I gotta win a second one to win the entire class. And I'm feeling good right now. I feel like I'm completely in Dave Hall's head. He wasn't expecting me to have this type of power or to be this good on the table at all. And I'm gaining a lot of confidence here. And he's also getting a little tired now. Like, I've been trying to burn his hand out this entire time. I've been letting him load, giving my arm away. I'm not really... I'm fighting, but I'm not fighting with everything. I'm just fighting enough to gain a good hand position. He's actually trying to dominate me in that setup, so he can feel like he's gonna win before the match even starts. He doesn't like this, you know, gray area in the setup where anything could happen, and it allows me to be explosive. So yeah, I'm fighting for a ref script again, but you know, it doesn't happen. Dave Knox like doesn't like giving ref script. Like, this setup was like a minute long once again, and it doesn't go ref script. But it's okay. I feel like my hand position is good enough, and I've gotten Dave Hall to relax on his loading a bit, and my setup just feels phenomenal. So I let it go, and I'm able to, again, just completely beat him to the punch, press victory with complete dominance in the hand position. And I get called for an elbow foul there. Obviously, you can't see it from this camera angle, but yeah, my elbow does come off the front of the pad. So Dave Hall gets one more shot to try and stop that press. And the thing with Dave is, you know, he does the same thing every single time. It's very easy for me because he doesn't adapt. He doesn't change, you know. I've pinned him 3 times now. Only one of them has counted, but I've been able to pin him 3 times, and he does the same thing every single time, and he doesn't change here. So I know he's going to do the same thing and same setup. I'm just feeling really good right now, and I've got everything I need in the setup. I'm on the right side of the table where I've got my eyes on Dave Knox. I know exactly when he's going to say go. And Dave Hall's, he's getting antsy. He's loading back a ton, and I'm not letting him have any of that. I'm just giving it up. I'm not loading with you, Dave Hall. Nope, not this time. And yeah, so he gets a second warning for that one, so he actually goes on to a foul. So now it's 1 foul piece because I have that elbow foul. And yeah, so he has to be a little bit more cautious about his loading now because he knows he's on 1 foul, and if he gets 2 fouls, he loses the match. So I'm able to control that in the setup. We know there's no load, and I'm able to be explosive off the go once again. High hook press for the victory, flash, pin, and I walk away from the table like a fucking boss. And they go shake his hand. what can I say? I was so pumped to win that match. Walking in that day, I didn't know Dave Hall was going to be there, but if you had asked me if I was going to beat Dave Hall, I would have said no fucking way. But yeah, I'm really happy with that win. Really happy with the way our whole team did that day. I think we really showed that we fucking know how to arm wrestle and know how to fight on the arm wrestling table. We're gonna put out a little highlight video of the young George and Alexander on Friday, and he embodies that fight more so than anybody, I think, especially for a 16-year-old kid. But the way he fought Brad Wade was inspirational. And yeah, so what's up next for me? I've got a match against Evan Keller on May 7th. I think it's May 7th. At Umesh's event, the Be Strong Arm Wrestling event. Evan Keller pulls with Tyler Bolzan and Jamie Staken and those guys, I believe, regularly. But I'm feeling pretty confident going into that match. What I'm really focusing on is provincials, which will be like 2 weeks later. So I'll have that match, and then that'll be my last pull until provincials. And I really want to do well in provincials. There'll be a 220 class, so that's what I'll be competing at. Won't be competing against these 230 boys. I'm actually 220, like right around 220, maybe a little below, so I'll be able to eat up into it. And then after provincials, there'll be nationals. And I'm going to be competing in both of those events, looking to podium at provincials 100%. Gonna work on some holes in my game going forward, and I'm coming in hot for Evan and for provincials, and looking to do some damage. So if you like this video, please like the video, leave some feedback down in the comments, share, subscribe, hit that bell, and monkeys out. Peace.